I'm Ryan F9 astride the Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally, the mount I know more thoroughly than any other. This is the only motorcycle I know so uncommonly well that a manufacturer asked me to provide feedback to the team that built it. But since this is also the motorcycle that you know better than any other nameless filmmaker, would you like to show everyone why you know it so well? Edwin?
How about a mirage of an infected site of injection?
Gangrene dream?
Contusion illusion.
That's good.
It's gonna be your life for 20 days.
We're not sleeping tonight.
How do you ride if you don't know if what your brain is seeing actually exists?
Do not rush me right now, Edwin. We're just burning 4K, that's it. Fuck.
Like, we've ripped by stories that would take days to tell. We've flown past cultures that would take years to understand. What good is such an arbitrary mark to leave on the world if none of us are actually around to share?
I'm sorry, you can't come with us. We hit the ground running. We learned that motorcycles can't go on a lot of the main roads, so we're improvising.
And now I'm gonna wipe chamois cream on the butt.
You got it, Steve.
Okay.
If you expected us to choose a more German motorcycle for the fast way around, I would contend that this is a more practical display of engineering. See, this is the fastest turn-in of any adventure bike. And part of the reason it's so fast is because it has a reverse rotating crankshaft. So the wheels spin this way, the crank spins this way to offset the gyroscopic forces that otherwise resist leaning. Now, Ducati blueprinted that to win at World Superbike. It's just a added benefit for us dirty boys that those were the closest plans to hand. Of course, the race machines get Desmo valves that need to be blessed by a virgin mechanic every 6,000 kilometers, whereas the Gran Turismo machines get Gran Turismo valves. I assume that's Italian for springs because they're just valve springs like on every other motorcycle. Unlike every other motorcycle though, they're good for 60,000 kilometers between services. That's more than any other adventure bike. It's more than the GS and everything else, except for perhaps KTM, if they go bankrupt and their intervals become infinite. Now, 60,000 K sounds insane, but you have to remember that this engine was built for the Desmo valves to squeeze a MotoGP 240 horsepower out of. So at the Yabo GP 170 that I have here, it's actually really understressed. I mean, just look at this Turkish madman. Well, he attests that it'll bang off the limiter at 255 long before the engine runs out of puff. And that's just based on the way that this bike is geared for off-roading. So it's really plenty of engine. And I'll show you what I mean. Now, never mind what that Turkish guy's gloves looked like. Instead, look at this. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Ain't a two-way mechanical latch, just brilliant. Now, on the GS, you would have to hit a joystick, scroll into a menu, ride off the road, hold the button, press another menu, wait for the ambulance to come, hold that button, watches a tiny little electric motor, brings your windscreen up at a snail's pace, bleed out. It's rather inconvenient. Whereas here, this, it just works. And the same goes for heated grips. On the Beamer, you need a degree in computer science to use the heated grips. Whereas here, Gloria Deo, I just get a big freaking button. Now, annoyingly, that button is mounted to a clamshell that is keyed to the handlebar. So if you get into a little bit of gnarlier stuff like this, and you want to loosen up these bolts and tilt the handlebar upward. Well, it is a shame because that button then becomes like Isla de Muerto, in that it can only be found by those who already know where it is, way on the back of the handlebar. Woo! That ought to do. It does thirsty work, this V4, but Ducati solved that problem in the simplest way too. They simply fitted it with a massive 30-liter tank and the ability to run on just its rearmost 2 cylinders. They didn't give the rider the ability to choose when to make the bike run economically. It's one of the things that I'm really asking for. Also, this tank is paired with the most optimistic fuel gauge I have ever met. It will show 600 kilometers when it's full, 200 half a tank later, and then very rapidly drop to 0, at which point there is still 3 liters in here. It is Italian in some ways, like these side bags. And they go on with a very solid pressure latch. We carried 80 pounds of fuel across the nullarbor on here, so it works quite well, but it takes a lot of force to click back on. And so much so that you can actually push the motorcycle over trying to do it. So the manufacturer recommended way to mount them is to grab here and give it amore. How Italian is that? You'll want to hump the side bags too, because they are the best that I know. There's no funny little electrical connectors to line up for central locking. There's no dual purpose mounting opening plastic levers that immediately fill with sand and stop working like on some other motorcycles. This is just a big metal box with a metal cam buckle, and it works. Acoustically, it's very functional as well. To keep the weight to 573 pounds, Ducati fitted this tiny clarinet of a muffler, which sounds utilitarian, industrial, dare I say German? Aesthetically too. And people talk about the Multistrada having these gorgeous Italian supermodel curves, and on the original I can see it. The lanky V-twin mirroring the vacuous space underneath each side of the V-shaped frame. It's beautiful in an off-putting supermodel way. The Emperor's new look, however, is all in people's heads. To my eye, this just looks conventional, practical, which is not a bad thing when you simply need a platform to get you around the world in less than 19 days. In fact, the only things that let us down were the third-party parts suppliers that presumably let Ducati down too. Look at this piece of electrical tape on my key. Every multi-key I've seen has that, otherwise the plate immediately flies off. Whichever key maker built these, they're junk. Now similarly, you'll notice my foot peg rubber is missing. I've never met a multi that can hold on to these. I lost 12 of them going around the world. The silver lining is that when you lose yours, you can pull to the nearest debris ditch and probably find a few spares. Bosch did Ducati dirty too. Their radar cruise control will latch to the car in front and keep you a set distance from it. That is very handy for sorting out flights or borders mid-hurricane, whatever. But it is sort of too clever by half. See, when you hit the indicator for any reason, maybe it's to slow down, maybe it's to pull over, maybe it's because your riding partner hit his and you're trying to follow suit. Doesn't matter. As soon as you touch it, the bike will speed up, assuming that you're immediately trying to pass someone. Like I said, it's too clever by half, and half the time it puts you halfway up the ass of your riding partner before panic breaking back out of the closet. Now, a couple other just small things. We boiled the rear brake reservoir on a few descents in India. That probably has more to do with India's particular brand of heat than anything Bosch did. And there are also a few earplugs in the bottom of this narrow cubby that my German sausage fingers will never get back. But if that blood is drawn on Ducati's design team itself, then it's also on my fat hands. That I have nothing more to complain of. After riding an iron butt and a half every day for over 2 weeks, actually says more praise than any praise that I could voice. So I'll just end where Ducati began, with practical engineering. And what you're hearing right now is a twin pulse firing order. A 4-cylinder like this bike could go bang, 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 bang. But instead, this one goes bang, bang, pause, bang, bang. See if you can hear it. Pick up some pace around the motocross track here. Whee! Can you hear that? Twin pulses, right? And what that enables is a harder hit of torque, woo, like that, for sliding the rear around a corner, but also more time between pulses for that tire to recover grip and to let me feel what's going on down there. Ugh, stay with me, Canada. Now, twin pulse engines, or big bang engines, have been a staple in MotoGP for a long time because of that combination of force and feedback. It's just very easy engine to ride around at the limit of grip. Whee! But that makes it trivial to ride a big bike like this through a tight space. I mean, this is pretty narrow trail for a full-size motorcycle, but I can't say that I'm working that hard. Even that I'm on street tires, it's still easy to feel the Multistrada V4 through a tight spot. So what this twin pulse engine enables is for me to get this bike anywhere that I would ever want to take a purebred V4. Its size might scare me off of my rally pace, but I'll get it to the finish line thanks to the brilliantly engineered motor and the simple functional cycle stuck to it. In many ways, that's the motorcycle I'd expect BMW to have put together. But after riding 20,000 fast and flawlessly reliable miles on this, well, perhaps this is the way that we should think of Ducati now. Now, the only way we were able to attempt a non-stop speed record while filming a movie is by having Insta360 sponsor that adventure. See, you'll notice in all of our A-cam shots that we also have an X-series mounted to the mirror. And the reason for that is these gather 360 degrees through two 1.28-inch sensors and 3 AI chips, meaning they see everything, even in the dark. So whenever those most thrilling moments happened to pop up, we were assured to capture it. The other thing, most of our ride days were 25, 30, 35 hours long, so we'd be rolling on loop, charging constantly in the heat of Mumbai traffic, Singapore, or Bangkok. Amazingly, these cameras are able to sync that heat and keep rolling. You'll also see that we have an ace stuck to our chest. And that's because we got ourselves into a few sticky situations where our very large cinema camera was most unwelcome. So having a Leica lens just here, but picking up 8K in very high dynamic range enabled us to capture some cinema quality stuff that otherwise you would never be able to see. So thanks very much to Insta360 for helping us to make our first feature film, something that's been a 10-year dream of mine and is now only 6 months away. And click the link below if you want to check out some of our tools. Thank you very much for watching.